welcome back to our channel. One dime coin, a rare gem of American currency, blending history and lasting value. The year is 1972, and the world is experiencing a time of great change and transformation. The United States, having just emerged from the 1960s, is seeing an era of cultural upheaval, political unrest, and technological advancement. At the same time, in the heart of the U.S. Mint, a small, seemingly insignificant coin was being minted, yet, decades later, it would go on to capture the attention of collectors and numismatists alike. Today, we're going to explore one of the most fascinating coins in U.S. history, the 1972 USA one-dime coin. Now, most people who are familiar with U.S. currency recognize the dime as a 10-cent piece, a coin that's often overlooked in day-to-day transactions. But what makes this particular dime so special? Why has it become a highly sought-after treasure for coin collectors around the world? Let's dive deep into the rich history and unique features of this coin. As we step back in time to 1972, the world was in the midst of a rapidly changing landscape. The United States was navigating the end of the Vietnam War, while the Watergate scandal was beginning to cast its long shadow over the political landscape. On a different front, the American Mint was hard at work producing a wide variety of coins for circulation, including the 1972 dime, which would come to be known for its subtle yet critical errors. The design of the dime, which had been in use since 1946, was not about to change in 1972. The obverse of the coin still featured the profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, who had passed away in 1945. His image was chosen to honor his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II. The reverse, on the other hand, depicted a torch flanked by olive branches and an oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength, values deeply embedded in the fabric of American society. But even with such a timeless design, the 1972 dime would become famous for reasons that few could have predicted. While most dimes produced that year followed the standard design and minting process, something went awry during the production of some of the 1972 dimes. These coins were not just ordinary 10-cent pieces, they carried a hidden flaw that would make them a rarity. To understand why, we need to take a closer look at the minting process in 1972. The U.S. Mint was working at full capacity, churning out billions of coins annually to meet the needs of a rapidly growing population. The production of dimes, like other coins, was done using large presses and a process that involved engraving dies. The engraving dies were crucial to the final appearance of the coins. In the case of the 1972 dime, a die was used that was slightly worn, leading to a flaw known as doubling. Doubling occurs when the coin's design is struck twice, giving certain areas a ghostly or doubled appearance. This error typically happens when the die is misaligned or shows signs of wear, which is what happened with a number of 1972 dimes. As a result, the coin's design, a profile of Roosevelt, olive branches, and the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," was doubled, making it stand out from the standard dimes produced that year. But this wasn't just any ordinary doubling. The error was quite noticeable, and collectors who caught wind of it began to take an interest in these coins. The dimes with this distinctive feature were so rare that they became highly desirable for numismatists. Collectors began to search through rolls of dimes from 1972, hoping to find one of these elusive error coins. The 1972 double-die dimes quickly became one of the most prized finds in coin collecting. But the story doesn't end there. The appeal of this dime extends beyond just the error. Its historical significance, coming from a turbulent era in American history, added an extra layer of interest for collectors. Imagine holding a coin that was minted during a time of such profound change and political drama in the United States. It's like holding a piece of history in your hand, a tangible reminder of a pivotal moment in time. In addition to the double-die error, another factor contributing to the coin's rarity is the relatively small number of these coins that survived in good condition. Over the years, many of these dimes have been worn down by circulation, leaving only a handful of well-preserved specimens. As time passed, the demand for these error coins only grew, and they became even more difficult to find. So, how rare is this error coin? While the exact number of 1,972 double-die dimes is not known, estimates suggest that only a small percentage of the total dimes minted that year exhibit this flaw. It's this rarity, combined with the historical context and the appeal of owning a piece of American numismatic history, that has propelled the 1972 USA one-dime coin into the spotlight. Fast forward to today, and this seemingly modest 10-cent piece is no longer just a piece of pocket change. It has become one of the most coveted coins in the numismatic world. Collectors from all over the globe are on the lookout for a well-preserved specimen, willing to pay top dollar to add it to their collections. What makes this even more exciting is the fact that the 1972 double-die dime has become a symbol of rarity, history, and the pursuit of perfection in the world of coin collecting. Now, you might be wondering, just how valuable is the 1972 USA one-dime coin today? Well, after years of increasing demand and appreciation from collectors, the value of a well-preserved 1972 double-die dime has skyrocketed. A coin that might have once been worth just a few dimes or a few dollars is now valued at a staggering $148,000. Yes, you heard that right, $148,000 for a single dime. That's right, the humble dime, a coin that's often overlooked in everyday transactions, has become a highly sought-after rarity, worth more than most people's homes. This remarkable increase in value is a testament to the rarity and historical significance of the 1972 double-die dime, as well as the fascinating world of coin collecting. In conclusion, the 1972 USA one-dime coin is more than just a piece of currency. It is a symbol of history, a rare treasure, and a reminder of the intricate processes that go into minting coins. Its value has only increased over time, and it remains one of the most iconic era coins ever produced by the U.S. Mint. For collectors, this coin represents the pinnacle of rarity, and for history enthusiasts, it offers a glimpse into a pivotal moment in American life. So, the next time you find yourself holding a dime, take a closer look. It might just be more than a 10-cent piece, it could be a rare treasure worth thousands, or even hundreds of thousands, of dollars. And that's the fascinating story of the 1972 USA one-dime coin. If you enjoyed this deep dive into coin collecting, make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video. You never know what other hidden gems we'll uncover next. The year was 1981, a time of great change in the United States. The country was stepping into a new decade with high hopes for the future, while simultaneously dealing with economic uncertainty and political shifts. It was the beginning of a new era, with technology advancing rapidly, and the world feeling the echoes of the Cold War. In the midst of all this, a small coin, often overlooked in everyday transactions, was being minted at the U.S. Mint, the 1981 USA one-dime coin. Now, to understand why this seemingly simple dime is so special, we need to take a step back and look at the historical context. The United States in 1981 was a nation in transition. President Ronald Reagan had just taken office, ushering in a wave of conservative policies and a new vision for the country. The economy was facing high inflation, and the country was in the midst of a tough struggle against unemployment and rising gas prices. It was a time of political change and shifting economic tides, and yet, while these macro events were shaping the national landscape, something subtle was happening in the world of coinage. The design of the dime, which had been in use since 1946, remained the same in 1981. The coin's obverse still featured the profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, who passed away in 1945. Roosevelt's image had been chosen for the dime in recognition of his leadership during the Great Depression and his role in founding the March of Dimes charity, which aimed to fight polio, a disease that had affected Roosevelt himself. On the reverse of the dime, there was the familiar depiction of a torch flanked by olive branches and an oak branch, representing liberty, peace, and strength. These elements were timeless symbols of the nation's ideals, ensuring that the dime would forever carry the spirit of America with it. However, while the design itself was largely unchanged, something interesting and somewhat mysterious was occurring with the production of the 1981 dime. In fact, the coin from this year would eventually be remembered not for its design but for its striking error, an error that, over time, would make the 1981 dime an extremely valuable and coveted piece among collectors. The minting process at the U.S. Mint in 1981 was as meticulous as ever. Coins were produced in large quantities, and the dimes were struck using high-pressure presses to produce clear, sharp designs. But something went wrong during the production of some of these coins. In certain cases, the dimes were struck with a variety of flaws that would become highly prized by numismatists. One of the most significant errors associated with the 1981 dime is what is known as the clash die error. The clash die error occurs when the dies used to strike the coins collide with each other, leaving behind a faint, mirrored image of the reverse design on the obverse side of the coin, or vice versa. This happens when the dies are not properly aligned or when debris gets lodged between them. The result is a coin that, while it looks mostly normal at first glance, carries a ghostly, double impression design that makes it incredibly rare and valuable. At first, these clash die 1981 dimes weren't immediately recognized as anything special. But as more and more collectors began to examine their coins closely, they realized that these rare errors were becoming more and more apparent. Soon, the news spread through the numismatic community that the 1981 dime had a unique flaw, and the search was on to find these rare coins. What made the clash die error on the 1981 dime so intriguing was not only its rarity but also the sheer number of coins that had this error. Most of the dimes struck in 1981 were minted correctly, and only a small percentage exhibited the clash die flaw. This made the error dimes highly sought after, as coin collectors began to comb through their collections, looking for that elusive 1981 clash die dime. In addition to the clash die error, the 1981 dime also carried other subtle features that appealed to collectors. The wear and tear from circulation, combined with the specific characteristics of the 1981 coins, meant that only a few of these error dimes remained in pristine condition. Over time, the dimes that had survived in excellent condition became even rarer and thus more valuable, but what truly elevated the status of the 1981 USA 1 dime coin was its association with the history of coin collecting itself. The coin wasn't just valuable for its rarity or error, it was also part of a wider cultural moment in the U.S. As the nation transitioned into the 1980s, the 1981 dime represented a piece of the economic struggles and triumphs of the time. It carried with it the echoes of a changing America, with Reaganomics on the rise and the country grappling with its place in the world. Holding a 1981 dime, especially one with the clash die error, was like holding a tangible link to that moment in history. As the years went by, the value of the 1981 dime continued to climb. Coin collectors, investors, and enthusiasts alike began to recognize the potential for these rare, error-filled coins to appreciate in value. What had once been a dime, a mere 10-cent piece, soon became a sought-after treasure in the world of numismatics, but the true value of the 1981 USA 1 dime coin wouldn't become apparent until decades later. It's incredible to think that a coin minted in 1981, at a time when people were more concerned with inflation and oil crises than with the price of dimes, would eventually emerge as one of the most valuable dimes in American history. So, how much is the 1981 USA 1 dime coin worth today? While the value can vary depending on the condition and specific error, the price of a clash die 1981 dime in pristine condition has been known to reach a stunning $136,000. Yes, that's $136,000 for a single dime, far more than most people's cars or even homes. This value speaks to the rarity of the coin, the historical context in which it was minted, and the appeal it has for collectors looking for that perfect piece to complete their collection. It's a testament to how something as small and unassuming as a dime can become a symbol of both rarity and immense value in the world of numismatics. And so, as we conclude our story of the 1981 USA 1 dime coin, we're reminded that even the smallest and most overlooked things can carry with them immense value. Whether it's a piece of history or a rare error coin, sometimes the most remarkable treasures are hidden in plain sight. If you're lucky enough to find a 1981 USA 1 dime with the clash die error in your collection, or perhaps in a jar of spare change, know that you might just be holding onto a rare and valuable piece of American history. And for those who dream of collecting such coins, remember that the pursuit of rare treasures is what makes the world of numismatics so fascinating. So, next time you hold a dime, take a closer look. You never know, you might just be holding a piece of history that's worth $136,000. Thank you for watching this deep dive into the fascinating world of the 1981 USA 1 dime coin. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Who knows what other hidden gems we'll uncover next time? The year is 1983. A new era is unfolding in the United States. President Ronald Reagan is in office, guiding the country through an age of transformation. The nation is recovering from the aftermath of the Vietnam War and the economic challenges of the 1970s. Unemployment is high, and inflation has been a persistent concern. Yet, there is something remarkably constant amidst all this change: the small dime, a simple coin of 10 cents, is still circulating in the pockets of Americans everywhere. But little did anyone know that this small coin, minted in 1983, would become the subject of fascination and immense value for collectors many years later. To understand the significance of the 1983 dime, we need to first take a step back in time. The design of the dime in 1983 was, in fact, not all that different from the previous decades. In 1946, the United States Mint had introduced a new design for the dime, one that would remain largely unchanged for over 40 years. On the obverse of the dime, there was the familiar profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, who had passed away in 1945. Roosevelt's image was selected as a tribute to his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, as well as his role in establishing the March of Dimes, a charity dedicated to combating polio, a disease that had profoundly affected Roosevelt himself. On the reverse of the coin, there was a torch, flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch. These elements symbolized liberty, peace, and strength, core values that Americans held dear. This simple yet powerful design became synonymous with the dime and its place in American currency. In 1983, the Mint was producing dimes in large quantities to meet the demands of the U.S. economy. However, it was during this time that something unusual happened. While the vast majority of dimes struck that year followed the same standard process, there was a small subset of 1983 dimes that became famous for an unexpected and rare error, one that would ultimately give the coin its remarkable appeal and value in the world of numismatics. The error that would define the 1983 dime is one that coin collectors refer to as the 1983 double die obverse, or the 1983 double die. In short, the double die error occurs when the coin's design is struck more than once in slightly misaligned positions. This can result in an image that appears doubled or shifted, giving the impression of a ghostly or blurry outline in certain areas of the design. In the case of the 1983 dime, this error became one of the most sought-after flaws in modern coinage. The cause of this error lies in the way the dies used to strike the coins were created. Dies are the metal stamps used to imprint the design onto a coin during the minting process. They are engraved with the coin's design and then used to strike the coin, transferring the image onto the blank metal planchet. However, in some cases, a die can become misaligned or experience issues that cause it to strike the planchet twice, slightly offset from its original position. This misalignment can result in the characteristic doubled effect, and that's exactly what happened with some of the 1983 dimes. At first glance, these errors might have gone unnoticed by casual observers, as the misalignment was subtle but distinct. The doubled images on these coins were most noticeable in the inscriptions around Roosevelt's image, as well as in the lettering of "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." Collectors who were paying close attention to these details soon realized that they had stumbled upon something quite special, an error that, over time, would become a prized possession in the world of coin collecting. However, it wasn't just the error itself that made the 1983 double die dimes so valuable. The real key to their increasing worth was their rarity. While the U.S. Mint produced billions of coins each year, only a small percentage of those would ever carry an error like this one. In fact, the number of 1,983 dimes with this doubling error was extremely limited, and most of them were quickly dispersed into circulation, where they would eventually be worn down or destroyed. Finding a well-preserved 1983 double die dime became a quest for coin collectors. The hunt was on, and collectors scoured rolls of dimes, scouring coin shops, and attending coin shows in search of this rare and elusive error. As the years went by, these coins became harder and harder to find in good condition, and their value began to rise. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1983 dime's appeal was how it seemed to embody the spirit of the 1980s, an era marked by the rise of personal wealth, a growing interest in collectibles, and the emerging world of high-value investments in rare items. While some people might have been collecting baseball cards or rare stamps, others turned their attention to coins, recognizing the potential for these small pieces of currency to become valuable in ways that few had predicted. In addition to the historical context and rarity of the 1983 double-die dime, there was another factor that contributed to its skyrocketing value: the inherent mystery and allure of error coins. Error coins have long fascinated collectors, as they are seen as rare anomalies in the minting process, mistakes that slip through the cracks, creating unique and valuable specimens. In a world where most things are mass-produced and uniform, an error coin is something of a rare treasure, an imperfection that is, in itself, perfect for those who appreciate the rare and the unusual. So, how much is a 1983 USA 1-dime coin worth today? While values can fluctuate depending on the coin's condition and the rarity of the specific error, a well-preserved 1983 double-die dime has been known to sell for a staggering $128,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, a single dime, worth just 10 cents when it was originally minted, can now fetch up to $128,000 in today's market. This incredible value is a testament to the rarity of the error, the condition of the coin, and the growing demand for rare and valuable collectibles. What makes the value of the 1983 dime so extraordinary is that it represents more than just a monetary worth. It's a symbol of how the world of coin collecting can elevate even the most humble of coins to the status of treasures. To think that a dime, a coin that most people would pass by without a second thought, could one day be worth such an incredible sum, speaks volumes about the passion of collectors and the fascinating world of numismatics. In the end, the 1983 USA 1-dime coin serves as a reminder of the small but mighty things in life, how even the tiniest of mistakes can create something truly extraordinary. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just beginning to learn about the world of numismatics, the story of the 1983 double-die dime is one that captures the imagination and reminds us that even in a world of mass production, there is always room for rarity and surprise. So, the next time you hold a dime in your hand, take a moment to appreciate the possibility that, just beneath the surface, it could be worth far more than you ever imagined. A coin that might seem so simple at first glance could, in fact, be a valuable piece of history, one that could be worth $128,000. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history and value of the 1983 USA 1-dime coin. If you enjoyed this exploration into the world of rare coins, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. You never know, your next treasure might just be hiding in plain sight. The year is 1988. It's a pivotal time in American history. The country is in the midst of change. Ronald Reagan is finishing his second term as president, overseeing a period of economic growth and shifting political dynamics. The Cold War is slowly winding down, and the world is on the verge of entering a new era. Technology is advancing at an incredible rate, setting the stage for the digital revolution that would define the coming decades. Yet, in the midst of this wave of change, one constant remains in the hands of Americans: the dime. The dime, a small 10-cent coin, has been circulating in the United States for over a century, providing everyday utility to citizens in their daily lives. While many of us rarely stop to consider the significance of such a modest coin, there's a fascinating story behind every piece of currency, and the 1988 USA 1-dime coin is no exception. Let's dive into the history, design, and allure of this particular coin and explore how it went from being an everyday piece of change to an object of incredible value in the world of numismatics. To understand the 1988 dime, we first need to examine the context in which it was minted. By 1988, the United States had already seen decades of change in its coinage, but the dime itself had remained largely unchanged since 1946. In that year, the U.S. Mint had introduced a new design to replace the old Mercury dime. The new design featured the portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, who had passed away in 1945. Roosevelt's image was selected to honor his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, as well as his role in establishing the March of Dimes, a charity dedicated to fighting polio, a disease that had affected Roosevelt personally. The image of Roosevelt, framed in profile, became one of the most recognizable and enduring symbols on American currency, and it would remain on the dime for decades to come. On the reverse side of the coin, there was the design featuring a torch, flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. These elements represented American values, and they were carefully chosen to reflect the country's ideals of freedom and unity. Now, the 1988 USA 1 dime coin followed this design faithfully, just as every other dime had in the previous years. However, what sets the 1988 dime apart is that, while its design may seem ordinary at first glance, there is a unique error associated with this coin that would soon make it famous among collectors. To understand why the 1988 dime became so valuable, we need to look closely at the process used to create coins in the U.S. Mint. Minting coins is a precise and intricate process, with dies, engraved metal stamps, used to imprint the design onto blank metal planchets. These dies are carefully crafted to ensure the coin's design is replicated with perfect precision every time, but every once in a while, something goes wrong. And in the case of the 1988 dime, what went wrong was a small but significant error that would eventually make these coins sought after by numismatists. Some 1988 dimes were struck with a misalignment of the dies, leading to a rare flaw known as a double die or double die error. The double die error occurs when the dies used to strike the coin become misaligned or shift slightly during the minting process. As a result, the design on the coin appears to be doubled, with certain areas of the coin, such as the lettering or the details of Roosevelt's image, appearing to be ghosted or out of focus. It's a subtle error, but one that makes the coin stand out from the rest. At first, the 1988 double die dimes weren't immediately recognized for their value. In fact, many of these coins were likely spent as ordinary change, passing through countless hands without anyone giving them a second thought. But over time, the coin collecting community began to take notice. Collectors soon realized that certain 1988 dimes were much rarer than they had originally thought, and their unique error made them highly desirable. The appeal of the 1988 double die dime goes beyond just its rarity. It's a coin that represents the beauty of error coins, those accidental anomalies that occur in the minting process, creating something unique and valuable. Collectors of error coins are always on the lookout for those rare, one-of-a-kind finds, and the 1988 double die dime fit the bill perfectly. But the rarity of these error coins wasn't the only thing that made them so desirable. There's also something intrinsically fascinating about owning a piece of history. The 1988 dime, with its error, was a direct link to the world of coin production, an imperfection created in a time of great economic and technological change. It's a reminder that even in an age of mass production and precision, mistakes still happen, and sometimes those mistakes can create something far more valuable than what was originally intended. As time went on, these rare double die 1988 dimes became more and more sought after by collectors. The demand grew, and the price of these coins began to climb. What was once a simple 10-cent piece transformed into a highly valuable artifact, with collectors and investors alike vying to own a well-preserved specimen. So, how much is the 1988 USA 1 dime coin worth today? Well, a typical 1988 dime is still worth just 10 cents in its regular form. But for those fortunate enough to find one of the rare double die errors, the value can be far greater. In fact, a well-preserved 1988 double die dime can fetch an impressive $120,000. Yes, you heard that right, $120,000 for a single dime. That's the incredible value that a rare error coin like the 1988 double die dime can command in today's market. This price is a reflection of the rarity, the historical significance, and the increasing demand for these coins in the numismatic world. But it's not just about the money. The 1988 USA 1 dime coin represents a story of chance, change, and the unexpected. It's a reminder that even in the most unlikely places, there can be hidden treasures waiting to be discovered. What was once a simple coin, minted in vast quantities and used by millions of people, has become an object of fascination and value, an essential piece of the larger puzzle that is American numismatics. The journey of the 1988 USA 1 dime coin is a testament to the power of rarity, the allure of error coins, and the enduring appeal of collecting. It's a story that continues to unfold as more collectors discover the beauty and value of these rare coins, and as the legacy of the 1988 dime lives on in the hands of those who appreciate its unique history. So, the next time you reach into your pocket or check through your spare change, take a moment to look at your dimes. You might just be holding onto a rare and valuable treasure worth $120,000, waiting to be discovered. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the fascinating world of the 1988 USA 1 dime coin. If you enjoyed this exploration into the world of rare coins, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. Who knows what other hidden gems we'll uncover next time?